Hello everyone, this is Ashutosh Raut. In this video series, I will be covering the summary of DP900 course. DP900 is the Azure Data Fundamentals course, and these videos will be very helpful for the students who are willing to opt for DP900 exam. Talking about DP900 exam, it is divided in 4 modules, and we have also divided this video series in 4 videos module wise. In this first video, we will be covering first module. Okay, so let me start with the module 1. Module 1 is nothing but core data concepts. Firstly, we will see data and types of data. So it is very important from exam perspective to know the types of data. First one over here is structured data. In simple words, the structured data is the data having some structure, particular structure. For example, CSV files. Okay, so data stored in relational databases is also another example. So in relational databases, what happens is data is stored in the form of rows and columns. So this is the structured data. The next one is the semi-structured data. So semi-structured data allows some variation between entity instances. For example, JSON, XML files, etc. And these examples are very important from exam perspective, because what they will do is they will provide you some examples like JSON, XML, and you will need to separate them into the structured data, semi-structured data, or unstructured data. Like these, the questions will be there. So for example, the most of the customers have email addresses. Okay, and some may have more than one email address. So this is a kind of scenario where this type of data we should store in XML or JSON. The next is the unstructured data. So in unstructured data, um, the different type of documents, images, audios, and video data, and binary files. So these files don't have any specific structure. Binary files, for example, the data is stored in the form of zeros and ones, so they don't have any specific structure. So these kind of data is referred as unstructured data. So it's quite simple, only 3 types, and it's easy to separate them. So the next one is the data stores. So there are 2 broad categories of data stores. First one is the file stores, and next one is the databases. So talking about the file stores, so first is delimited text files. So what is delimited? Delimited means there is some type of delimiter. For example, CSV files, TSV files. So CSV means having comma separated values, TSV means having tab separated values. So comma separated means comma is a delimiter for this type of files. The next is the JavaScript object notation JSON file. So JSON is nothing but hierarchical document. Okay, it has hierarchical schema where data entities can be referred as objects, and that having multiple attributes. So for example, some customer attribute will be there. Sorry, the customers data will be stored, and we can have multiple attributes like customer name will be there, customer email address, and whatever data we need to store, that will be in the form of attributes. The same data can be stored in the form of XML, which is extensible markup language. And XML, in this XML we store data in the form of tags. So whatever attributes we have seen, so that will be in the tags. So I have highlighted the keywords, and these keywords are important. So whenever tags, you will come across tags or which data stored in the tags, so it will relate to XML. Next is the binary large object blob. So these are nothing but images, videos, audios, etc., where data is stored in the form of binary language, zeros and ones. The next one is the optimized file format. So Avro, ORC and Parquet, these are the optimized file formats. These are also very important from exam perspective. So Avro is nothing but the row based format. So again I have highlighted the keywords over here. So it's row based, and the header, this, so it has a header and the header is stored as a JSON. And why Avro is useful for compressing the data. So from storage optimization point of view, Avro is important. And then ORC, so ORC is optimized row columnar format. So data is stored in the columns rather than rows. So it's totally different from other data formats. The next is the Parquet. Parquet is another columnar data format. So where we see row groups. So how is it different from ORC is it has row groups, and data for each column is stored together in the same row group. Okay. So next one is the databases. So there are two major types of databases, relational and non-relational databases. And relational database, so where we store data in the form of rows and columns. So it is we store structured data basically in the relational databases, and we use SQL to query the tables. So SQL is also important from exam perspective, and not in the detail, but just the um, just the basic knowledge of SQL, what is DDL, DML, etc. So in non-relational databases are important from exam perspective. So these types are very important. So first one is the key value databases. So in key value databases, the data is stored in the form of keys and value associated with it. And in document database, so document database is also a key value database only. The difference over here is the value will be a JSON document. The next one is the column family databases. So in column family databases, the columns are divided into groups, and these will be the column families. So to show you as an example, you can see this orders table where the customer is different column family, the product is different column family. The next one is the graph database. So in graph database, the entities are stored as nodes, and we use links to define relationship between them. So for example, here nodes. So nodes are Ben, Sue and hardware. These are nodes, and these are representing instances of data entities. And next one is the ages. So ages represent relationship between them. So Ben reports to Sue and Ben works in hardware. So these are the relationships between them. Properties means, so Ben will be having some information, his information. Hardware and Sue will be having their own information. So that is their properties. Okay. Next one we have is OLTP and OLAP. So this is also pretty much important from exam perspective. We use OLTP systems where strong consistency is required and heavy write requirements are there, but minimum read requirements. Okay, so what is write requirement? Write requirement means creating, updating and deleting the data. But read requirement means fetching the data. Okay, so we typically use OLTP systems where we have heavy write requirements but minimum read requirements. And then OLTP systems support CRUD operations and ACID properties. So CRUD means nothing but create, read, update and delete. And acid properties, so acid properties means atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So talking about atomicity, so in atomicity, what is atomicity? Atomicity means the entire transaction takes place at once or doesn't happen at all. Okay. And consistency means a database must be consistent before and after the transaction. Okay. So an isolation means multiple transactions occur independently without interference. And durability means the change of successful transaction occurs even if the system failure occurs. So the changes that has been committed, so that will remain committed. Okay. And OLAP system. So we use OLAP systems where there is a requirement of storing the huge amount of historical data, and we can use this data to perform complex analytics like data mining. One of the classic examples of OLAP system is data warehousing, and the next one is batch processing and stream processing. So in batch processing, the data records are collected and stored before being processed. And batch processing can output data to a file store but cannot output data to a relational database or NoSQL database. So I have put this line over here because this has came previously in the exams. So this is also important to know that yeah, whether it is able to store the data in files or not. The example for this is billing of a credit card companies. Right? So it happens in batches monthly. And stream processing, as the name suggests, the data is processed in real time as a new data event occurs. Okay. So for example is stock market trading. So it happens in real time. So from exam perspective, all these OLTP, OLEP, batch processing and stream processing. So there will be scenarios given and you will need to separate them into a batch processing, stream processing where they belong basically. So more the scenarios will go through, it will be easier for you to separate them out. Thank you.